Yo, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking about why Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is one of Monolith Soft's most important games of all time. So, many of you guys know Monolith Soft for their amazing work on the Xenoblade franchise, from the Wii to the new Nintendo 3DS, on the Switch, Wii U. There's been a number of games that they've done, and they're all fantastic in my opinion. But even before that, we had stuff like Xenosaga, for example, that was really good. But even before that, they were part of Square, which made some of the greatest RPGs of all time. So their stretch and their reach goes way beyond the Xenoblade franchise. But as I've looked through their history and kind of picked out certain games that were very important, right? Usually start with the basis or the foundation of a new franchise going forward. You see stuff like Xenosaga and how that turned into a trilogy. You have stuff like Xenoblade, for example, and how that turned into more and more games as Nintendo acquired them and wanted to make a hit from the very beginning. But you have to remember, when Xenoblade first launched, Nintendo of America had no faith in this game. Nintendo of Europe barely had any, and just decided after a lot of fan pressuring for like a year after the release of the Japanese version of the game, they said, all right, we'll go ahead and get that done. And that's the reason why we have Xenoblade here in the US. If we didn't put that pressure on, I don't even want to know what would have happened to the Xenoblade franchise if it didn't get that push from the Operation Rainfall. But I wanted to talk about this because if you look at Definitive Edition, that is a remake, right? It is not a brand new experience. And if this game does well, it does show that there is a market for Monolith Soft's older titles. Everyone's always been talking about stuff like Xenosaga, right? Maybe bringing that back. And obviously Xenoblade Chronicles X, that's a game that everybody wants brought back as well. Imagine if Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition just comes out and it sells like 3 million copies right off the bat, or something crazy like that. More than what Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did, which is Monolith Soft's individual best-selling title of all time when they are established as Monolith Soft, and that has probably around 2 million units sold or so, if you include Torna, the Golden Country, kind of in there as well. So if you look at it, if it came out and did so well, I think that just shows everyone involved with Monolith Soft, not just Nintendo, but it also shows Square Enix that, hey, there is this market for these old school Monolith Soft games. Because if you look at Monolith Soft and what they've done from Xenosaga, right? And then we also have to mention Xenogears as well. Like, these are games that have so much mechanics, so much cool stuff built into them, but I wouldn't say it was held back by the technology, but was just kind of lost in the wave of time when it comes to what players are playing. A lot of developers don't think that people want these type of in-depth action RPGs or in-depth RPGs from the yesteryear. A lot of them were turn-based in terms of what Monolith Soft worked with before in the past. But if Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition shows that it can come out and not only do well, but outsell the mainline entries in the games, for example, like a Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was easy to do because that was on the Wii U, so outselling that wouldn't have been a problem, but outselling maybe even Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think that would be an amazing thing for Monolith Soft going forward in the future, in addition to an amazing thing for Nintendo, just having confidence that that type of game can do very well. We all want to see what Monolith Soft can do, and I just feel that if we do get that, I think a Xenoblade Chronicles X remaster would be highly likely if this game can just come out and blow it out of the water. And I think that depending on how well this game does, maybe they even take the extra mile with it, right? We've seen kind of more of the lazier end ports that we've gotten, then we've seen some ports that really kind of take it to the next step, right? Like a Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, where it wasn't just, okay, we're just going to put this in 1080p and it's going to look just how it was. They really took steps to make it actually look better and improve a lot of the functions within the game. So I feel that having Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition do really well on the market, it just opens up all of the opportunities for Monolith Soft's past entries to be released on Nintendo systems, and that would be a good thing for a lot of the hardcore RPG fans out there, especially you guys that love the Xenoblade games, man. I get so many comments and so much love whenever we talk about Xenoblade, whether it's Torna or Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or X, and people talk about their favorite ones. But if you look at all of Monolith Soft's games, and if you want to target the Xeno games, many people identify Xenoblade Chronicles as the best one. If you look at the reviews wise, you've got a 91 or 92 on Metacritic. This game was just beloved by so many people. So if it can extend that reach and make the franchise even more popular, this is a big deal for Monolith Soft. This could result in so many new projects, so much more revenue coming in and flowing and expanding what the operations are there. Because I do think that it is an important game, and it was such a big game for Nintendo in terms of for Monolith Soft and everything like that, that they actually ended a direct with that. A lot of times directs end with a big bang, right? We've seen stuff like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 or the sequel get ended in a direct. We've seen stuff like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, for example. That was a direct ender. Ending the direct is always a big thing, and they thought highly enough of Xenoblade Chronicles to put that in that ending spot for a direct. So that goes to show me that this is a high priority for them, and they are looking for this game to do well. And I would hope going on 3 years in 2020 of the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch, and a lot more Nintendo Switch systems out there, that this game, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, should be able to outsell Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because back when that game launched, the Nintendo Switch was only around 10 million units or so. Really good for the first 9 months, but definitely not where it's at right now, which is pushing 50 million units. And by the time that this game comes out, we don't know where the Switch is going to be at. It could be at 60 million units plus, because we're not exactly sure when Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is launching. Many people are kind of speculating that it could be a June or July, summer type of launch to coincide with the original release 10 years ago in Japan, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Obviously, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out at the very end of the year, but that was a brand new game. This is a remake of the original. But I do think that obviously like their whole studio isn't riding on this, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that if the game flops or if it doesn't sell X amount of copies or Y amount of copies that there's going to be trouble or anything. What I'm trying to say is that if it does do better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, if it does way better than the previous games, I think that it opens up more opportunities for Monolith Soft to expand on their older catalog, and of course get new members, expand, and also just do more within the hardcore RPG space, because they are somewhat of a dying breed to see these big, large-scale level RPGs like a Xenoblade Chronicles that's not Final Fantasy, right? When it comes to Japanese RPGs, really all we see that's doing it on this scale is Final Fantasy. Persona's a bit different, right? It's a lot more restricted, whereas Xenoblade and Final Fantasy, those are the two RPGs from Japanese developers that are huge, and they have a nice open-ended area to where you can kind of roam about and everything, kind of like an open world type of feel. There are other games that try, but it's just not on that level for a lot of them. But there are a lot of other Japanese RPGs that also have big worlds and stuff like that too. But these two do it at a level that a lot of other Japanese developers just can't do it at when it comes to quality and everything. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Monolith Soft has for us with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I think that they need to make sure that they really kind of pull out all the stops on it. I don't think it should just be a cut and paste type of remake, right? I think that it really needs to improve upon the original in every single way. It needs to streamline some things so it can get players into it faster. I think that they need to make sure that they shore up a number of stuff with like quality of life, right? There's a number of things that they can make, I would say, more fluid to use. Some of the mini games and things like that in terms of quality of life, upgrading all of that can be improved and made better, and even make it to where people really want to go out there and get it, because it is a vast improvement over what we got before. And they can even tweak some of the side quests and not make them so tedious, because some of them are just kind of a pain to do. A lot of fetch quests and stuff like that. They can completely streamline that to make it to where you can rack them up all right there and kind of get them done in a faster time period or faster order. So you're not just doing endless fetch quests and boring stuff in the game if you want to get some extra experience and all of that. So it's a game that's already really good, but there is room for them to improve, and I think that they will. I think they're going to deliver on that when we see see the game in 2020. So what are you guys' thoughts when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition? What improvements do you guys think that Monolith Soft and Nintendo will be adding? And when do you think that they're going to be releasing the game in 2020? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let us know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys for the next one. Peace.